Welcome to Inner Knit Girls podcast, the #1 beauty podcast according to our mum, hosted by makeup artist sisters Indiana Nolte Martin and Imogen Thomas. We live on opposite sides of the world and we're here to chat all things makeup, beauty and everything in between. Welcome to a little solo ep. This ep I'm doing by myself. It's Immi, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know the difference in our voices. Indy is a tired mama this week, and I think it's a great solution that we can just do solo eps and still get an ep out to you guys. So that's exactly what we're going to do this week. It's going to be a bit of a mini ep because look, it's not easy talking to yourself and like not being able to bounce off someone else. So look, it's going to be new. Indy sent me some prompt questions that she kind of wanted me to talk about. I had a really exciting day on Sunday. I hosted my first ever shoot because I wanted to get some more portfolio photos for my editorial makeup. So I put together a little shoot. I think we've talked about it on the podcast before about me doing it briefly before, but it all happened this Sunday. So she wanted to hear about it, but I will talk about it on here. It was an awesome day overall. I think it was a massive shoot. Like we had 3 photographers, a content creator, 2 content creators. I had 7 different models that I did makeup on. And then I had a male model, my boyfriend was modeling, and then we had 2 small brands come. And then obviously May's the makeup artist. And yeah, it was just a lot of people in the one space, but we all fit really well and everyone was really nice and everyone worked really well together. My boyfriend made a playlist so he got the vibes going and it was awesome. Like people I've never met before came because I like put it out onto my socials and I was like whoever's interested, and I had so many people reach out that I had to almost turn people back, so that was awesome. I turned back a few people because I was like, I'm so sorry, we already have everyone sorted for the day, but it's awesome to know that in future I have more people that I can work with and network with. It's so important in the creative industry, I reckon. But let's get some questions flowing. So Indy sent some through. So our first question was, what was the collab for? So as I mentioned before, it was to kind of show off my editorial makeup. It was actually Indy's idea because she does stuff like this all the time in Canada, where she kind of like works with, I think, like little shop owners and stuff like that and asks to use their shop to do a shoot in, I think, and works with some other creatives in Swift Current. So I said to her, like, I really want to get into editorial makeup. I think as a makeup artist, editorial feels almost like the next step or like a different avenue. And obviously being in fashion, studying fashion, it feels super cohesive to go into like runway makeup and fashion makeup. So it just feels quite natural that that's kind of like the progression in my makeup career and where I go. So I said to Indy, like, I want to do a shoot and I want to do editorial makeup. And she was like, well, why don't you put a post out and just see like who's interested, maybe get a small fashion brand to work with you and whatnot. So I made a little poster and I asked for any creatives to come and work with me. It's all portfolio work, all unpaid. And yeah, that's what it was really for. It was for my benefit. But in the group chat I made with all these creatives, I was really like, please everyone come to the table with what they want out of this shoot. It is obviously unpaid. So having like, getting what you want out of it was so important to me. I didn't want anyone leaving the day feeling like, oh, I spent all that time and effort and I didn't get what I wanted out of it. So that was really important to me, that everyone felt very accomplished by the end of the day. I felt like everyone else's shoot, not just mine, if that made sense. Like I didn't want to feel too much like the host. I wanted it to feel like just a creative space where everyone could come together. And it really did feel like that on the day. Next question, she said, run through of the day. How did it start, etc.? So it was a massive day. Obviously I overshot with the models by far. So I actually had originally 8 models and they're all my girlfriends, and some of them are actually models for their full-time job. And so that's awesome. I love having hot girlfriends. Hello. So that was easy. And I have a lot of different group of friends, and this group of friends are very my like creative artsy group of friends. So it just felt right to ask them. But yeah, so there's 7 models. I woke up in the morning at like 7:15, got ready. The day before I set up my living room. So I put like my table in here and the chairs and everything because I just wanted to feel organized. I wanted to be set up for the next day. So I woke up, everything was already set up. I came downstairs and my first model arrived actually late by like 18 minutes. So she was meant to arrive at 8 a.m., but she arrived at 8:18, which timing for me was like going to be the most stressful thing about the day. I was like, oh my God, I'm so worried because I've never done editorial back to back like that. I have done a fashion show before, but it was very simple. Like it was just an eye look, which most like runway shows are, but this was different. Like it's portfolio work. So I really wanted the makeup to look good. So when she was coming 18 minutes late, I was like, oh my God, like this is already a start to the day. But I was like, okay, just keep calm. How are we going to like pivot from this? So I just changed her whole look and did something super simple, which was fine. I think when you do a really simple editorial look, the best thing you can do is be super messy, then clean it up. That's the beauty in editorial, that it doesn't have to be perfect and you can really like pivot. So I had a run sheet from 8 a.m. and at my last would finish at like 2:30. So I had a makeup look and what time they had to be at my house or at the studio and the location of where they were getting their makeup done. So I had a run sheet for the models that I had made before. I'd made like months prior. I sent it to them, was like, let me know if you girls want to change anything. So I had to mix around some times because some people didn't want to be too early or whatnot. So yeah, everyone had their schedule, which was just like out of my hands for the day. So yeah, the first model arrived 18 minutes late. That was fine. We pivoted. We did like a pinky, like very euphoria eye look on her. And then I finished right on the dot, ready for my next model. So then I did Maddie. She did a really cool, like just a brown eye with then like a really intense wing. And I did like 2 little metal sticker dots right at the bridge of her nose. That was really fun. I really loved playing around with stickers and just like things that are out of my comfort zone. I used a lot of Half Magic makeup, which if you don't know, that is Euphoria's makeup artist. That is her like makeup range that she's just come out with. That's just launched in Mecca recently. Not recently, but hasn't been there for a while, if that makes sense. And I love her stuff. It's very editorial. So yeah, I did 4 models here in my house in the living room. And bless my best friend Millie. She's like my childhood best friend. She came and I texted her like the day before and I was like, hey, are you around to help assist me for my shoot tomorrow? I just needed someone to like clean my brushes in between and kind of just like be there if I needed anything because I was jam-packed with like back-to-back models. She was like, yes, I'll be there, done. And she's the best for that. Like she doesn't even question anything. She's just like, yeah, I'm there. And she's very like, she's just good at that. And I knew she would bring the vibes. So God bless Millie. Thank you for coming and assisting me. So Millie came in the morning. All the girls were here just chilling in the living room, which was nice. Just like we had some JB playing and I was just in my element. Like I was having so much fun and all my girlfriends are so supportive. So that was awesome. They were just like, I love seeing you do your work. And yeah, so I finished each model right on the dot on the time. It was so funny. Like it was creepy. The girls were like, oh my God, on the minute you're finishing. So I left 45 minutes for each model for their makeup. And just in case like anything went wrong or like I need to clean my brushes or anything like that. But yeah, the timing was perfect. Like 45 minutes duration was perfect for each model. So I'm so glad I timed that perfectly because I was worried I wasn't leaving myself enough time. So yeah, I finished my first 4 models here at the house. So that was from like 8 till 11. And then we left at 11. Mum and Dad, bless them, got some like little sandwiches and some water. So that was a lifesaver. Mum's, you know, she's got that hosting brain. Jerry bought like heaps of family sized chips, but Mum's always know best when it comes to food. She's like, no, you need sandwiches. And it's true. You do need sandwiches on such a big shoot. So yeah, at 11, we drove out to the studio. It was about an hour away. And we just unpacked in the studio and everyone arrived. Perfect time. I just set up straight at the makeup stand. I touched up all the 4 models that I did in my living room. I touched them off and sent them off for headshots. And then I did my next 3 at the studio. And I just had so much fun. Like the music was pumping. I was just doing my thing, doing my makeup. Everyone was chatting with each other. They are just like the best group of people to just meet new people, to make people feel welcome. So that was awesome. So yeah, everyone just started doing their thing. I was so locked in. My boyfriend, Jerry, he modeled for Suki because it's a unisex brand and I only had female models. So I was like, Jerry, and he's so beautiful. So I was like, let's get you modeling for Suki. And he was like, yep, I'll be there. And yeah, he loved it. He said he kept looking over at me, like trying to make eyes with me when I was doing makeup. And he was like, you would look at me and like look away because I was so locked in. I get into like, it's like when you're in a flow state, you know, it's like when you're in your creative flow, you don't want to like, you're just like so locked in. I could like nothing else was around me, but I was just so pleased with how all the makeup turned out. It was unreal. And then I finished my second model at the studio super quick. It was like a very simple look. So I had a lot of time to just like kind of jump around, see all the photos getting taken, see the headshots that were getting taken, play around with the Suki clothes and just like vibe out, have something to eat and just like chill on the couches. The studio atelier house was super cool. Like the vibes in there were awesome. The furniture's so cool. It was super affordable for a uni student to hire out as well. So would highly recommend if anyone in Melbourne is looking for a studio. It's out in Ringwood called Atelier House. And we all put in about like $30 each person, like each creative that was working on the shoot. So it really worked out to be quite even and wasn't that expensive for the 4 hours. So yeah, we just shot and then by the end we did like some really cool like group Suki photos. Suki Studios is the little small brand that came to the shoot, and then we had Last Year in the label who has little leather booty shorts and little like festival belts. So we kind of she styled her pieces with Suki, and all the girls like bought their clothes and stuff. So that was fun to just like play around with everything. It was just like a dream. I would relive that day a million times over. It was so, so good. And then we wrapped up by like 3:30 and we were out of there. We had the studio till 4, but the guy that owned the studio was like, someone's coming in at 4, so just like make sure you're out. And we were done. So we were like, we'll just like pack everything up clean and get out of here. So yeah, the day wrapped up around 3:30 and it couldn't have gone smoother. Like my friends that were models were like, Immi, this is a massive shoot. Like, and it's very organized. Like everyone knew exactly what they needed to do. Everyone like was really on top of their game. Because having such a big group in that warehouse, it could have gone west. It could have gone south so easily. Because there's so many people, it's so easy to have that feeling of like, what do I do next? And there was a little bit of like the photographers kind of waiting their turn to like get their photos. There was a little bit of that, but I really ensured before the day, I was like, please make group chats within like your photographers or whoever you're working with to really like coordinate the day. And I think everyone did a really good job of that. So yeah, I think the communication from the start was good. I'm an over communicator as it is, but I think in situations like that, it comes in handy because yeah, I didn't want anyone feeling like they were a bit like, what's the point of being here? Alrighty, next question. Where did you get the inspo for each of your looks? Was it your vision or did any of the brands have any input? It was all my creative vision. I really altered each look to the model I was doing. So I know my girlfriends and I know what vibe kind of matches them. So that's exactly what I did. And I really, for my portfolio, wanted to show like my diverse range of what I can do. I didn't want there to be anything too similar. So I did like I did like a crazy wing and then like a black smoky eye. I did like a soft pink, purple eye. And then I did a silver look. I wanted every makeup to match the person I was doing it on. So that's kind of what led my inspo. I did go on Pinterest and just like find some inspo photos. And obviously nothing's going to look the same as it is on like an inspo photo, like whoever gets the inspo photo correct. So it was just like kind of a brief outline of like what direction I was wanting to go in. And I nailed it. Like I absolutely nailed it for each person. It really suited their vibe. A couple of the girls like went out after and wore their makeup out. It's to this club called Miscellanea. So it's a very like It's a very artsy club and very like LGBTQ community club. And we love it there because it's the best. Like everyone is dancing. The music there is vibes. We love that club. But the girls went out there after. I was way too tired. I was like, the fact you're going to a club is gnarly. I need to go to bed. But they said they got so many compliments. And if you're going to go to any club and wear like editorial makeup, that's the one. So like they nailed that. But yeah, that's definitely what helped my inspo. But no one else really had a say because at the end of the day, I just want to get my headshots, you know, and everyone else, I just wanted them to do their thing. But yeah, no, I just had all creative direction. And I think just knowing my girlfriend's personality helped with the inspo because the more the look suits them, the more confident they'll be, you know. So that's what my inspo was. All right, next question. How did it all come together? Advice for anyone looking to do something similar. Okay, this is a good question because I was actually at a music event and a photographer approached me and he was like, hey, I heard you're a makeup artist. And I was like, yes, I am. And then he was talking about how like he's tried to do so many shoots and like no one reaches out and this and that. I think anyone in the creative industry, it's tough because you want to get paid for your skill and your time and your effort and everything like that. I think what really helped my case was making a post being like portfolio building. Anyone in the creative industry needs portfolio building. And I think when you label something as that, people really see it as an opportunity for their own personal growth. And I think just posting on social media. So when I put out the poster, people share it around, you know, like people see something and they're like, oh, videographer, like I know one, and they send it to them. And that is your best resource when it comes to finding people to collab with, just putting yourself out there. Like, I think a lot of people get scared to post on social media, especially like my age, my generation, or like maybe my age range. I don't know. People get really anxious to post on social media because they care about what people think of them, and it's like toxic because we've grown up in a world of social media, so it's common. And I think a lot of people are nervous to put themselves out there or just post a poster because they're scared of what people think of them. I think when you get over that and you're like, I don't care, like whatever, and you do have the confidence to put out a poster or whatever it is, that really helps because you're not going to get anywhere being shy, and you're not going to, well, in this kind of like aspect, you're not going to get anywhere kind of just like taking a back seat. You have to be productive and really put yourself out there, or else it's hard to build, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think it all came about by me posting and then just getting a lot of people. And then I, once I finalized the few people that I wanted for the shoot, I then put them into a group chat and made like a big message being like, this is who's doing what, and put like their tags and what their username so that they could all communicate with each other. Yeah. So that's kind of how it all came together. And if anyone's looking to do something similar, I think find a good cheap studio. I think there's so many that rip you off. I understand it though, because the studios, you know, they're expensive to run and whatnot, but I think that there's some good ones. Look for uni discounts and look for other uni students. That's my biggest thing. Like, uni students are the best to work with because one, they're super inspired by what they're currently doing, and they are looking to portfolio build as well, which means you don't have to pay everyone, which sounds so bad, but like I don't have the funds to run a whole shoot and pay every single person. So I think doing like the whole uni student thing is really beneficial for everyone. Plus you're networking. So that's also a component. But yeah, I think if anyone's looking for any advice, specific advice, feel free to text me, DM me at my main account, Immi Thomas with 2 S's, or just our podcast account as well. I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone has or any advice for running something like that. It was a lot easier than it seems. So yeah, I would love to help anyone that has any questions. Okay, the next question was, what are you most proud of? I think I'm most proud of my friends. Like, I think I'm most proud of everyone everyone's like support. I think I'm proud of the people that I've surrounded myself with because they make it that much easier to have a day run that smoothly. Like everyone was so supportive and they just kept saying like, we're here for you. Like, this is like, we just want to support you. This is like your day. We're all here supporting. Like, you just tell us what you need. We can go do this. We can go do that. Like, they were just amazing. And so welcoming and nice to the people that weren't part of like, you know, when, you know, so many groups can be, you know, cliquey or whatever, but because there was people that were coming that they had never met, they all made such a good effort to make everyone feel included and nice and talk to everyone and greet everyone in the room. So that was what I was most proud of. I was like, yes, these are my friends and they're awesome and they're supportive and they're friendly and they're kind. So that's probably what I was most proud of. And I think like when I was there, like taking a step back and just like looking at the room and being like, wow, like I put this all together. That was the coolest thing ever to see, being like, holy shit. Like I thought about this day so many times and now it's in like full swing, like just running and everyone was doing their thing. And I think I was doing Belle's makeup and my girlfriend Jess, who I have known forever since kindergarten, she does videography and she was doing videography and like photography for the day, and seeing her just like in her element and doing her thing is like the coolest thing ever, because it's like I've known you since you were a little girl and now you're just absolutely thriving, and being able to work with her was like the best thing, the coolest thing ever. I was just like, this is crazy. And it is all about who you know, and like so that's why I always say it's so important to keep and maintain friendships for long times, because you never know where people are going to end up and how they could play a role in your life in the future. And it's just so nice to see as well. So nice to see. So that was probably what I was most proud of, just like seeing my friends flourish and being proud of like what I had built for the day. But yeah, that was the day. I don't want to keep rambling too much about it. Go have a little look at the photos. I've been putting my portfolio together and I'm like, this is so sick. The photos are so good. I want to shout out each person that came, because I think if anyone's looking for creatives, I will mention who was involved. So we had Charlie Dado, who owns Suki, and Alibaba. They both own Suki Studios. And then we had Jerome Figueredo, model for Suki as well. We had like 7 models. I won't name all of them. Jess Rollman is videographer, so shout out Jess. Then we had Maggie McCullum, who also owns Mara Creative Studios and also did the photography. And then we had Mia, which is MIAKI_photos. And she's an amazing photographer. And then we have Pandora, who owns Last June label. And then Tara Kitchen, who also owns Mara Creative Studios. Lily Kinder did some like videoing and content creation. And yeah, that was basically everyone that was the creative side of things. And then we obviously had all the models. But yeah, if you guys are looking for anyone in Melbourne doing any of those things, hit them up because they were all incredible. Yeah, so that was my day. Let's move on to a random rec and a beauty rec to end the episode. Okay, my random rec is actually, I wanted to talk about this with Indy, but I'll just go ahead and say it. I go through phases where I get into running. And look, I'm really bad at staying consistent with things. I'm really bad at consistency in like meal prepping, exercising. I'm not consistent because I don't know what it is. I'm just a crazy gal and I can't stay consistent at things. It's something I want to get better at. But look, like I'm so busy. I have a million things going on and my life is very chaotic. So sometimes I just find it hard to stay consistent. I definitely could put more effort in being consistent, but when the time's right, the time's right. Anyway, so my random rec is this app called Runner. You do have to pay like $12 for it, but I went for my first run today. I'm I'm trying to do 5K. So it's starting like I'm beginner. Like I used to be able to run so far. I remember one year getting like 10 in the beep test, but that was when I was playing netball like 4 times a week and I was like super fit. So I always love running. Running's always been like my favorite form of exercise. I remember running so many times with Dad down in Hampton along the beach there. But it is one of my favorite forms of exercise. And one of the girls at uni has started using that app, and she's training for a half marathon, and like seeing her progression over time, I'm like, why can't I do that? I should get into that app. So it's called Runner. It's like $12 or something, but you just like put in your goal of what you want to hit, and then it creates like a plan for you. So it creates a plan, which I love. I love that. And then it also, on the run, like today I went for a run and it was my first interval training run, and it's like 90 seconds walking and then 250 meters conversational pace. And then you do that for however long, or for however long it takes you to run 250 kilometers. And then you do a run and you do that like 6 times. So, but my favorite part is like that it says it. It's like, okay, it's like almost there. Start walking. And then it will be like 90 seconds walking. And then it will be like almost done. 250 meters next. And then it'll be like start running. So it like tells you when to stop and start. And then you can just like put your phone away. It like sees how long it takes you to run the kilometers and whatever. I don't know. It's just like handy. It's just like convenient. And it's like, I don't know anything about running in terms of like building up and stuff. So I feel like it's better than just like going ham and like burning yourself out. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like that slow progression to where you're meant to be. And I love that idea. So, and like I'm going running like 3 times a week. So it's like I'm not going to get sick of it. And it's so accessible for me because you can just run outside your door. But yeah, that is my random rec. My beauty rec, I don't know if we've talked about this before, but it's the Very Glowy Primer by Go To. I actually have it right here. Oh, this one. I don't know if we have talked about it before, but I'm obsessed with this. I like am not really normally a massive primer person. I'm more like a skin prep person. But this primer has really changed the game. And you know what's good when I buy it? Because normally I'm like, oh, I'll take a few testers, see how I like it, and then I never really purchase it. But this, I was like, no, I need to buy this. I can't live without it. And they've got a very mattifying primer, and then this is the Very Glowy Primer. I get more glowy requests from my freelance makeup, so I bought it for my kit. But unreal. So that would be my beauty rec today. But I think that is it, guys. Thank you for listening to this week's podcast. Thank you for listening to my solo voice. We really miss Indy this week. Miss you, girl. But if you want to follow our social medias, we are at Indianic Girls Podcast on Instagram, and then our personal accounts is at Indiana Makeup Collective for Instagram, and then mine is Immi Thomas with 2 S's on Instagram, and my TikTok is Immi Tomo, THOMO, and Indy's is the same as her Instagram. But thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.